Jazz from Caitlin and Jazz Books, and today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up and March TBR for 2017. I still can't get used to the fact that it's 2017. That's really weird. I've actually surprised myself. I thought I read like 3 or 4 books this month and I was like, that's okay, but you know, it's not great because I've had exams and stuff. But apparently, if Goodreads can be trusted, I've read 6 books this month. I don't understand it either. So obviously I want to get through everything because, like I said, I've read quite a few this month and I want to like go through my TBR as well. So I'm going to make this quick, so I'm going to get through everything as quick as possible. So let's go. So the first book I read this month is The Wall by William Sutcliffe, and this is a book that Caitlin gave to me because I saw it on her shelf and I keep seeing it and I was like, Caitlin, are you ever going to read that? And she said no. So of course, like the great friend I am, I took it. I did give her books in return. Like she didn't just give me a book. Well, who gives a person a book? Okay, anyway, I'm sidetracking. This was okay. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Like, it wasn't brilliant. It wasn't the best I've ever read, but it wasn't bad. It's a dystopian, it's a dystopian book, but it's based on the Iraq-Palestinian war? Yeah, there we go. So it's based on that, but it's not actually relating to it directly. So it's about a boy who lives in this place, I can't remember the name of the place, but it's surrounded by a wall and you're not allowed to cross it because like people that want to blow them up and kill them live on the other side of the wall. But this boy finds a hole that leads under the wall and he sees what it's like on the other side, and yeah, that's pretty much the whole premise of the book. And it took half of the book to get to that point, so that's probably why I gave it less stars than I did. But I did like the actual setting and the character building. It did drag a bit in the middle, but, you know, like I said, it wasn't brilliant, but I would recommend if you're in for like a sort of slow read. It didn't have the ending that I thought it would have, and that's good in a way, but I don't know, it just kind of ruined it slightly, if anything, for me, because it's just, it didn't live up to my expectations, if that makes sense. But it was good. I didn't say it was bad. I did enjoy it. The second book I read this month was probably the smallest, but ironically it took the most time to read, and that book was The Wicked Will Rise by Danielle Page. I can't remember what I gave this. I think I gave this 4 stars, but now that I look back on it, I'd probably give it 3.5 again. Yeah, it's the second book in the Dorothy Must Die trilogy, although you can call it a series because there are a load of novellas that she's written too, I don't know, but I'm not going to read those. I probably will finish this trilogy, like it's not awful, but having read the second one, because I gave the first one 5 stars because I really enjoyed it, I still stand by that, it's brilliant, even though Caitlin hated it, but I have realised that her writing style in this book particularly has gone downhill slightly, like it's slightly more, colloquial or childish, you know, and it's just a bit like, oh, I'm 16 and I'm reading this and it sounds a bit weird, but the story was good. It did pick up, there was a lot crammed in to the 200 and something pages that there were, but it wasn't brilliant, it wasn't amazing. That seems to be a running trend for this month, but I didn't hate it, I did enjoy it, and I probably will finish this series. The third book I'm just going to skip past really quickly because it wasn't for my own leisure, it was for school. Basically, if you live in the UK, or it might be just wherever, I don't know, you have to give a speech about something, and my school is doing Lord of the Flies, so I read Coral Island, which Lord of the Flies was based off of, so I could compare the two. So I read Coral Island by R.M. Ballantyne. It's basically about 3 boys that get stranded on an island and they have to survive, and it's all great until the cannibals come along and eat I'm joking. But yeah, it was okay. Like, it's for school, so what do you expect? It was okay. So around this point, it started getting to my birthday, and that's when I started reading the stuff I got for my birthday. And the first one I did talk about in my birthday haul video, and that is the my collection of the Brothers Grimm Selected Tales by, obviously, the Grimm brothers. And this is basically where all of our sort of fairy tales come from, but in the rarest, like, rawest form, not rarest, rawest form. So they're very gory, they're very dark, they're really, like, I was surprised, because they're quite childishly written, like, they're all very simplistically written, but they're, like, the abruptness of some of the things is actually quite funny. Like, not because they're funny things, like some of these things that happen to the characters in these books are horrible, but it's the fact that one sentence is really sort of happy and lovely and, oh, they lived happily ever after, and then the next sentence is, and then she died, and it shouldn't have made me laugh, but it did. So yeah, I like reading depressing stuff, so this was great, but I think overall I did give this 3 stars, because after a while it did start to get a bit repetitive. But at the end of the, like, that's probably because I was reading all of them like all 400 pages back to back. But if you just wanted every now and again to just pick out a fairy tale and just be like, oh, that's cool, then this is a great book. I really enjoyed this. I really did. So the next book I also talked about in my birthday haul, and this is probably my favourite one of the whole month, bar the whole year so far probably, I think that's fair to say, and that is, oh my god it's so heavy, is The Walking Dead Compendium 1 by Robert Kirkman, Charlie Adland, Tony Moore and Cliff Rathburn, I don't know, I sound really British, Rathburn. Anyway, this is the first compendium, so it is 1 through, like, the first 8 chapters, or the first 48 comics. It's big. I don't even know how many pages there are. That's what's annoying me, because there's no page numbers. But this is about a guy called Rick Grimes who wakes up from a coma in a hospital to discover that the world has been overrun by zombies in an apocalypse, and it's about him and a group of survivors trying to, well, you know, survive. I love the cover so much. Like, it's like a mirror, so they're all alive and then they're dead on this side. It was so good. It took me, like, it didn't take me that long to read this, obviously because it's a comic, so it was quite easy to read. But it was so much darker than the show. I wasn't expecting it to be that dark, you know. I mean, the show was pretty grim, but this was on a different level. But yeah, would 100% recommend to anyone, whether you like the show or not, because it is really different. Like, yeah, you should so read this. It's amazing. I didn't actually finish in February. I finished it yesterday, but I'm just going to count it as a February read so that you know, like, the progression of what I've been reading. So yeah, I'm just going to include it, but it's not a February read. And that is Magonia by Maria Devana Headley. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce names. But yeah, this is a book I bought on impulse because the cover was beautiful. And the book was pretty good too. I would give this 4 out of 5 stars. I would highly recommend this book. The reason I didn't give it 5 was because I didn't really understand the main person, like the bad guy's motivation for everything that happened. Because usually they explain it pretty explicitly, but this was just kind of left up to the person's imagination. Like, maybe I'm stupid or something. I probably am, but I don't know. That's the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars, but I gave it my own interpretation, and so it made sense to me, you know. It's basically about a girl called Aza, I don't know how you pronounce it, but she has this mysterious lung disease, and she is terminally ill, and then suddenly she finds this place called Magonia, and she can breathe for the first time, and it's like, oh my god. But yeah, it's really cool, and it's about her living in Magonia, which is a really cool place. I would love to live there. People turn into birds. I mean, if you ask any child what their, like, superpower would be, it's often to fly. Like, I want to fly. This was freaking awesome. I would love to live in a place where birds, and they control things by singing. That's awesome. I love it. I loved all the characters too, because the characters are really in depth. And one small issue I did have was one of the main characters is really nerdy, and I hate it. I really do, when authors try and, like, be more relatable and make characters nerdy when, like, they go so over the top and they're just spilling out these random facts that no one really would say in real life. But, you know, I'm just going to skim over that because it was very well written. So I would highly recommend this book to anyone. Look, it's so small. And I think the sequel is out, and I probably will buy it if I get around to it, but obviously I have such a big TBR at the moment that it's probably not going to happen very soon. So my current read at the moment, obviously I didn't start it very long ago because I just finished Magonia, but my current read is The Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, and it is the second book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series, and I freaking love Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and it sort of picks up right from where it left off, and I'm not going to say where that is, because if you haven't read the first one, then it's spoilers and stuff, but yeah. So far, it's as good as the first one, and it's really good at filling you in on what's happened so far, so that's great, because it's been so long since I've read the first one. I may have had to Google a synopsis as well, because I just wanted to get immersed in the story again. I feel like watching the film kind of ruined it for me, because I think they merged all 3 books into one, so I don't know, but it's so different, so it doesn't really matter, I don't think. But yeah, it's basically about Jacob and the other peculiars, as they do stuff. I can't really say anything without giving away massive spoilers, so I'm just going to leave it at that, but you should read the series and catch up. I'm amazingly excited for my TBR this month because it's so good. I usually give myself like 3 books to read, so I'm just going to stick with that, because if I don't meet 3, then there's something wrong. But yeah, the first book to read this month is probably going to be my favourite, unless it really lets me down, but I've read reviews, I'm sure it's fine. And that is The King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard, and this is the 3rd book in the Red Queen series, and I wanted to read this for so long because the second one ended on such a cliffhanger. I can't say anything without giving everything away, but it's so amazing and I love it, although I did get the big one, which is going to look ugly on my shelf next to all the small ones, but I don't care. Next book to read this month is also something that I've talked about in my birthday haul, and that is Cinder by Melissa Mayer, and as far as I know it's a retelling of Cinderella, but it's got something to do with robots. I don't know. I'm sorry if you've read the series and I'm just looking like a bit of an idiot, but I don't know. I've never read it, but everyone is always raving about it, so I finally got round to it. I'm always the late one, and now I'm here. And the last book to read this month I also talked about in my birthday haul, and that is Wayfarer by Alexander Bracken, who wrote Passengers, and this is the sequel. I don't know what it's going to be about, but probably got, Etta and Nicholas, who, can we just talk about how attractive he is in my head? Oh, the problems of being a bookworm. Anyway, I'm really excited to read this. I hope it's good as the first one. As good as the first one. Because otherwise, I just wasted my money and it'll be a bit of disappointment. But I'm hoping it doesn't have the second book slump. Hashtag 5th wave. I hope you enjoyed my wrap up and TBR for this month. Please leave in the comments what you're reading this month and whether you've enjoyed any of the books that I've mentioned. So please leave a thumbs up, a comment, and subscribe because it's free, and we will both hopefully see you next week. Yeah, hope you enjoy. Bye guys!